Welcome back to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creatives, thinkers, and doers. And if you know me, Flobo Boyce, the man in the mayor's office, I like doing things. I like sport. And so that's the reason why my guest today is doing that in spades. Please welcome Skiffington, home of the SoxStack, who was doing the dang thing in the baseball space, sir. Thank you so much for being on the show.
My boy, what's going on? It's good to see you again. It's been a minute.
Dude, I was at the gym this morning and I was like, man, I haven't gone to the gym this early since my Dubai days. We were hitting the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, man.
Yeah, that jet lag, man, was something else. I was at the gym at 3, 4 a.m. every morning. I just couldn't sleep.
So let's start with that, man. So we actually connected in Dubai, of all things, with the content core for Baseball United. I was there alongside Black Baseball Mixtape. You were there on your own platform. Tell me about your platform and how you made it out there to the United Arab Emirates, man, to cover the sport.
Right. So it actually is kind of crazy. So I started like in this content game when I was in high school. I started writing about baseball, specifically the Red Sox. And then I kind of grew into like more of an overall writer covering different aspects
from Jersey,
of MLB. I'm from Massachusetts originally.
You're from
I live in
Massachusetts.
Jersey right now. Yeah, you can't take the Massachusetts out of me though.
Just making sure.
So as I started to progress with that, I started to get more like high profile guests, and then just the world as it like evolved, media specifically became more audio and video reliant. So I pivoted there, started a podcast when I moved to Nashville to cover the Nashville Sounds, the AAA team for the Milwaukee Brewers. Sorry, brain fart.
Yeah.
So I started just filming content. I did a little bit of writing down there, but that's when I started to kind of veer off and fully lean into podcasts and video. And once I started doing that, man, it wasn't 16 months later, I found myself in Dubai. It was just kind of wild, man.
Well, how did that actually happen? Was it like a thing where you're like, look, I want to be on the ground thing, or you realize, hey, look, content is something I love. I have my own little twist on it. Because for me being there, it was like seeing 9 different flavors of content. I never thought there was so many different ways to approach the game. What was your approach? What was your mission when you got out there?
Honestly, man, once we all had that initial call we all were on.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot of you guys. Like I knew Billy and I knew the Bat Boys. Other than that, I didn't really know anyone else. Actually, no, that's a lie. I knew Kinez as well, but that's just because they've amassed these massive followings that most people in the industry do know who they are, especially if it's within baseball. So I was honestly super excited to work with all of you guys and watch all of you go about your business, because as someone who was probably newer to the game there than most of you guys, it was just so awesome to see like how Kinez would do his vlogs during a game, or how you would be literally flying all over the stadium doing different kind of content. Mark was the same way. He was all over the place. I just loved watching you guys go about your business. I remember like at the end of it, so Billy and I traveled there like together.
Okay.
And I remember at the end of it, man, I'm 26 years old. Billy's a little younger than me. I was just so proud of this freaking kid, man, and just so impressed with the way he hustled. He was just grinding the entire time. Not that we all weren't, but for some reason he stood out to me. Maybe it was just because like I was with him the majority of the time there, but like that guy hustles, man. I love that kid.
No, I'm with you. It is funny how I'll take a step back because I think we told this offline, but I got lucky with my assignment out there. It just so happens that we're on the mixtape together. We had Cash Shake, the majority owner of the league, on it, and he invited both of us. But Mark couldn't make it, so I went for the entire platform. And the first day, they kind of like threw us in a Suburban, or was it Tahoe or whatever. It doesn't matter the car.
Yeah,
they threw us in the car and they're like, "We're going to go ahead and work," and I didn't know what the hell we were doing. I'm looking around. I see Liam there looking all like gangster, not talking to nobody. I'm like intimidated. These people are half my age. I'm an old man. I'm like 38 years old. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing out here. But I thought it was cool as we went on, because again, we saw the way different approach the game, but like there was kind of that bond there. It was like, yo, we're going to sweat our balls off anyway. We're going to cash these guys anyway. Let's make it work. And so you stood out to me too, because again, you were training in the morning. We did our work in the afternoons, and we saw the area at night too. So I respect the hell out of that. But so you were getting the call. How did you pitch it to your family out there first? Because I know for me, it was kind of touch and go, right? It was kind of like, are we going? Are we not going? Do we have tickets to go? Like, that's your first trip going out there, right? So what's up with that?
Man, so before we had this initial conference call with the content core, I didn't even have a passport. So, and on that call, they were like, well, yeah, we want you guys out here in like the next like 5-6 weeks. So it takes 7 weeks to get a passport. So as soon as we ended that call, my girlfriend and I ran to the post office to get all that taken care of.
Yeah.
And then thankfully it came in. I'm one of these people, I just have the worst luck of all time. Doesn't matter what the circumstances. So in my head, I wasn't going to Dubai. In my head, like my passport wasn't going to be there on time. But fortunately, it did get there on time. Got there actually like 4 weeks later. So like 2 weeks before we were supposed to go. So it was awesome. But after that initial call, man, obviously I was pumped, like I said, covering my bases, getting my passport. Yeah. But then like a couple weeks go by, none of us are really hearing much. Another week goes by, we're not hearing much. So then like our group chat started kind of being a little live, like, hey, what kind of like just bumping shit to people like, hey, what's going on here? What's going on there? Yeah. You guys want us to book our own flights? Like, what's the situation? And honestly, I think because it was their first time doing it as well. And I know there was some issue they had with the travel agency that they had contracted to do this.
Right.
I'm just thankful we all got to get out there, man, on time and have a great time.
No, absolutely, and I'll be the first one to admit, and I promise I'll shift gears. I swear it's not the Baseball United chat.
But, you're good, man.
But I was so nervous in two different ways. It was I wasn't sure if it was not legit. But I wasn't sure if it was things were set up or I would have to like figure it out when I landed. And two, unlike everyone else in my group, I wasn't my own brand. So I didn't really know what I would do. I'm working with, this is the first time I'm actually working with something else. And so I did feel the same kind of way. But again, I was so glad to see how we all just said, okay, I wonder how many people like said, I'm out when they saw the challenges at first, but we got to see it. It was kind of making history out there in that part of the world. So it's pretty awesome, man.
It was crazy. And I don't know about you, man, but at least when I was over there, like I said, fairly new to the content game. When I was over there, at least the first like day or two, I was struggling, one with just anxiety because like across the world, I don't know anyone.
Sure.
And then the other thing was I found myself like I said, just for these first 2 days, comparing myself to all the other creators. So comparing myself to Liam and Eric, comparing myself to Knez. And I had to keep reminding myself that I'm not them. What I do is the reason I'm here. So I have to stick with that. I can't comparison is the killer of dreams, man. True. So I had to continue to remind myself that throughout.
You know what? I'll tell you the story. So that first ride, the first day, because we got thrown up to the SUVs, and I sat caddy corner from you, and I'm like, damn, that Liam guy looks like he's just a badass. I don't know. I was so overwhelmed because like I didn't know what it was. Are we competition at the time? Are we competition? Are we going to be like in a press room? Is there a time where we get like interview space? Is there an interview room? I didn't know. I was so anxious. You'll notice this. I wasn't around the first night. I was there with you guys for 10 minutes. We listened to the Cash Shake's little like warm-up speech or whatever. And I just was so nervous. I sat in the stands and I give him all the credit in the world. I sat with Patel's dad, Casey. And I'm just like, man, what am I doing out here? And it's the fact that he was an old man, like almost like my family, because my dad was a cricket guy too. We just like shot the shit for like 2 or 3 hours and said, look, man, you made it all the way out here. Get yourself in the game and produce. But yeah, that first day, I was like, you know what? Here's the word I want to say. I was scared. I was like, what am I doing out here? It's Thanksgiving week. These young kids, I'm an old man, you know what I mean? But I think for me, what I found out going on, what made myself different was that I was okay with getting angles. And I thought that was like my little lane and asking people like dumb questions, like funny questions. That was what I kind of found what my thing was. But that first day and a half, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here, you know?
Dude, I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, I'll be straight up. My first day, we got there. It was me, Billy, and Jennifer were the first 3 creators there. So it was just us. Not like an hour after we got to the hotel, I went to my room. I was on the verge of tears. I called my girlfriend. I was like, I don't think I should be here. I also, for some reason at that time, I didn't think I deserved to be there, especially given everyone else. Goes back to that comparison thing. Given everyone else I was around, they are probably like the titans of that industry, so to speak. Sure. So it was almost intimidating to be like brushing shoulders with these guys before I had the chance to actually know them.
It's funny because of all the people I worked with that week, and everyone was great. There's no one that wasn't great. I mean, I feel
That
like
team they put together, man. Sorry, not to cut you off.
no, absolutely
That
right.
team they could put together, they couldn't have done a better job. I felt that from the first second we all met each other, we all just clicked. We had that kind of chemistry, like we're all here doing this together. I just loved that, like kind of. It almost was like a team. Yet
Yeah,
we're all doing our own separate things, but not competing with each other. So it was
absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah, like I was saying, like everyone kind of had their own little lane, and it reminds me of like when I played sports for the 2 weeks in high school. I was a nose guard in high school. I was like 5'9", 275. I was a house, so I just but it was kind of cool to do that. And you and Knez, Mark and myself, we flew back together, so we had that whole morning just to chop it up and see how it was going on. So I have all the respect in the world for you guys, absolutely. But the reason why I wanted you on the show because, sir, you inspired me, right? I am a fan. If there's Liam Merce, let me know. When I get paid, I'll definitely buy something because you are the creative genius behind SoxStack. Talk to me about this. You're a Red Sox fan. Millions of those people exist. What made you decide to put everything together and make a platform to get Sox news in one location?
Man, so like I said, when I moved to Nashville, I started, you can see it right back here. I started Chatter in the Box. And then shortly after that, I was offered to go on Odyssey on a podcast called Baseball Isn't Boring with Rob Bradford. So I had a weekly spot on there where I would do power rankings. So then a couple weeks after that, Rob had reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do my own show on Baseball Isn't Boring, a weekly recurring show. And I was like, yeah, of course. So started doing that. It was called Stat. That's where you see this.
Okay, respect.
So Stat, after maybe like 2 months of doing that, I was like, okay, I feel like I got my groove. I feel like I found something here. I'm going to pivot to the Red Sox are my bread and butter, man. They always have. That's how I got my start. That's what I know best. That's what I love the most. So that it made the most sense in my head to do this. So I started just the newsletter first, the website SoxStack, which just a daily newsletter, Red Sox information, hits your inbox 7 a.m. every morning.
Right.
And then after that, I was still continuing to do Stat, but I was like, why would I have a podcast under a different name when I'm like the success I've had with SoxStack just in this first month has been better than I expected. So I was like, I should probably just name the show SoxStack as well, have it all in one so I can push all that content to one certain demographic. One thing I struggled with when I was trying to figure this out was, okay, will going Sox exclusively limit me in terms of guests and the type of content I can do? And on one hand, like, yes, it does. But on the other hand, just because I'm running SoxStack doesn't mean I can't reach out to someone not involved in the Boston Red Sox organization and interview them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So obviously my focus now is on SoxStack, continuing to build that up as we move forward. But I'm still going to I reach out to probably 20, 30 people a day to come on a show or just let me interview them and then see what we can make out of that. Whether it's a SoxStack podcast or a newsletter or just an article I can freelance and post somewhere else. Yeah.
So how does that work during the day? Do you take a writing section of your day and go, I'm doing the articles for today and tomorrow? Is it kind of like when breaking news things strike? Is it, I don't care what I write, but it's going to be scheduled for 7 a.m. tomorrow? What's the deal?
Yep. So right now I've been trying to find the cadence. What I found is that I've written a couple like breaking news articles in the middle of the day when something crazy would happen in this last month. And obviously the numbers on that, because they're hot topics right then and there, are a little higher than the newsletters that go out each morning.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know, man. I've been having a tough time trying to find that balance. There's always going to be something hitting your inbox at 7 a.m., whether that's going to be exclusive content from like an interview that I did, or on the other hand, like a direct response to something going on in the Red Sox organization right now. Like I said, trying to find that balance, but not too worried about it. Even I can also just continue to post those like midday articles, and I don't have to send them out to the subscribers. I can promote them other places, so their inbox isn't being flooded constantly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. All about balance, though. Like I said, we've been launched less than a month, so we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll admit, I was super jealous, and I was like, "Damn, man!" I mean, I remember the days when I used to blog back when it was called a blog, and I'm kind of in the underground stages of launching one of my own because I'm just saying, like, look, man, if Liam is like the coolest dude on the planet, he has a little like following. I could have a following too, right? But I think the most important thing. Oh, stop! I think the most important thing of SoxStack is the consistency. I mean, I always had this picture of you like stopping like Clark Kent and like, I have to go now, and there's something going on. Like, do you your network? You mentioned your girlfriend, family members. Like, what's the level of support been like? Has it been times where the support has been lacking? What's that been like when you tried to build your platform?
Man, so I will say, I said this a couple times to Mark when we were in Dubai. There's no one in my life that's been more supportive of me and these dreams than my girlfriend. Like, it takes a lot to
put up with you.
Yeah, well, to put up with me, but then also to be in a relationship as an adult and like have your boyfriend go across the world for a baseball gig that's a contract gig with nothing really to come back to. Like, that takes a special kind of person, a special kind of level of trust and understanding and belief in me. So yeah, man, I have so much support. It's been crazy. I wouldn't be able to be here right now at this stage in my career if I didn't have them.
I gotta say, man, like maybe I shouldn't blow up your spot, but I thought it was pretty cool that you got Nick Swisher to do a cameo on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, man. So so my girlfriend's not wasn't the biggest baseball fan before she met me.
Yeah.
Now she kind of is. So that Thursday, that Thanksgiving was our 1-year anniversary when we were at that polo field, which was honestly the most beautiful place I've ever visited in my life.
Absolutely.
And so then I just walked up to Swish and I asked him to do like a, hey, get me out of the doghouse kind of thing here. Like, she told me I could go over, but like, she's not going to be too happy about missing the 1 year. Right. And then he did it. And then, so I didn't even tell her, because also the time difference, it was like early in the morning over here.
Right.
When I posted it. So I just posted it. And then she calls me the next day and she was like, who the hell is that? I was like, yeah, man, come on.
That's kind of funny. It's like who's this stranger talking about us? Yeah.
Honestly, unless it was like Ohtani or Mike Trout, it probably wouldn't have resonated anyways. But now when we have kids one day, we get to look back at that and be like, see what dad did for mom way back when?
Your rocking chair on the porch. Yeah. It's funny because I remember like growing up hating Nick Swisher because he was a Yankee fan. And of course, as a Met fan, you have to hate the Yankee fan, but coolest dude on the planet, man. He's so passionate about stuff.
The coolest dude, man. What you see is what you get. He's absolutely as advertised. It was fantastic just to be around him. You could feel his energy anytime he walked into a room.
Absolutely. Let's go Falcons. What is the work balance? I know there's a work-life balance, but what's the work balance? Do you have other journalistic jobs? Do you have a square job, as we call it here on the show? Do you balance that too, in addition to SoxStack?
So it's funny you mentioned that. So right before Dubai, I was working at a marketing company for a little over a year. I was working remote. I was on their CRM team, building out their like back-end communication stuff. I got this opportunity to go to Dubai, and I said, you know what, man, I'm only going to be 25, 26 once in my life. Not going to have kids for a little bit. Like I have a lot of freedom right now. Sure. So I elected to quit that job right before Dubai.
Whoa.
Went to Dubai. Yep. Went to Dubai, came back, started building up SoxStack. And then right now I've just kind of been exploring other opportunities in media, trying to get some consistent income back. And yeah, build them from there. Man.
Wait to bury the lead. Yeah, I bet on myself, then flew across the country. What? I had to been scary though, right? Or was it scary? It was kind of
absolutely,
like it was time,
man.
or like what was that feeling like?
Absolutely. And this goes back into like I had this conversation with my girlfriend, because obviously like when you're an adult and you're having a life together, those are things you have to talk about if you want to have a healthy relationship, in my opinion. Yeah. So it was like, are we going to be able to do this for a month or two while we figure it out? And the answer was thankfully yes. And so since we got back from Dubai, man, like I said, I've been building up SoxStack, just building out the network and looking for other opportunities within the media space to try and make money. I loved marketing. I loved the company that I worked for, but I feel like I said, I'm not going to have this much freedom for that much longer in my life. Yeah. So I wanted to be able to explore different opportunities while I still have that time.
And I have to agree with that part. And then it's not okay. So a lot of times when I was your age, it sounds weird, right? But when I was in my 20s, people in
Back
my
in my
40s,
day.
back in my day, we had TVs and they were square, not rectangular. No, it changes because you think about like the getting hit by a bus or things may change, but I think no one tells you about the decline of your age. So I'm in my late 30s. So I'm still pretty good. I work out 6 times a week, not to flex. But I do realize when I travel, there's creature comforts that I need that I didn't need when I was in my 20s. Like I need like a king size bed. I can't do a hostel. Like I need like an aisle seat because my legs don't bend for that long. And I go, as you get older, you'll get more and more of that, and that's more and more money. So if you're young, you got the energy, got the cash and time, just go, 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 go. Even with your girlfriend, because when you're in your 50s and you have kids and they have braces.
That's what I'm saying, man. I feel like I'll be flying to Dubai a little bit less when I'm 50 than right now.
It's either less or so much more because you're that famous. Either one.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll wait and see. Another 30 years.
So what? Okay, so you have the platform, you're working on it, man. What do you do when you're not working on it? What do you do for fun? What do you do when it's quitting time? Do you believe in quitting time?
I honestly, man, no, I don't. I think especially if you want to, especially if you want to succeed in something like this, it's constant. So like, for example, like if something happened with the Red Sox right now, I'd be writing that article as soon as we hopped off here.
Sure.
So it's like I said, it's 24/7. I'm not a beat writer, so I'm not like that in tune with it. Like I'm not that like, okay, this needs to be out right this second. But I try and embody that as much as I can while continuing to balance like just regular life. Because the more serious you take something, the better it's going to be. And Absolutely. I've proven that so far, I think, in this first month with SoxStack.
I know it's kind of a loaded question, but what is like the actual goal? Do you want to do more written content? Do you like the personality stuff? Do you like being a host of the show? Like, I know they all can interlock, but what's the one thing you think about when you think of success?
Ideally, man, I want to be a thought leader within the baseball space, whether it's Red Sox specific or just baseball specific. I want to be a thought leader, and I want to have people following me that want my opinions on baseball, that crave my opinions daily on the game and how it's evolving.
Dude, I crave
that
your
to me is
man.
the epitome. Thank you. I appreciate that. But that to me would be the epitome of success.
So 2024, I mean, we're still in the off season as we record this. What's the physical trips like? Are you going on the road? Are you going to follow the team on the road? Like, is that also being laid out?
Yeah. So last year, I made a couple of great connections with Boston's AA team in Portland. And then a couple of years before that, I had some good connections with their AAA team in Worcester, which is like an hour outside of Boston. So definitely going to be hammering their minor league teams. I'm right outside of so I'm in Jersey City. So the Brooklyn Cyclones play about an hour from me.
Cyclone.
Yep. There we go. I went to that ballpark this summer, did a couple interviews there, but the Red Sox single A team will come through there. So I got my arms all throughout their system. Ultimate goal for this year, man. And I had this goal last year, just didn't work out, would be to do an interview, ideally in Fenway Park, but in a major league stadium with an A-lister.
So like on the ground, like media access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's where I'm hoping to build to, man.
I mean, you got like, look, you have the receipts, man. You did it before, so you're not some guy off the street. So I hope that happens for you if it doesn't already.
Right. It's super difficult. I know to break in at the major league level with a team like the Red Sox. It's a lot easier with a team like the Miami Marlins or like a small market team that probably not a lot of media are reaching out to coordinate interviews for. If that makes sense.
Do you feel like there's a pressure for baseball creators to do more of like the sketches and the product testings and like the comedy stuff, or do you think there's still a lane for just hard news and hard commentary?
I think there's a lane. I think you can combine both of them to some extent. I'm not sure if you saw my most recent video on the Red Sox. That was hard news reporting with not a twist, but like and I don't want to say a comedic twist either, because the video wasn't meant to be funny, but it popped up on Twitter. And it was just talking about the Red Sox, how they are not like really telling the truth to their fans, not being transparent about their plans. And I did that really not thinking anything of it. I did that. There was passion behind that. Like I felt what I was saying in that. And then I posted it and it took off. And I feel like that video, the format of that video is what I'm going to start leaning into. A little bit of comedy, a dash of comedy. You know, I'm a funny one, but with like real hard-nosed, like this is happening. It's right in front of your face.
Right.
You can choose to believe it or not.
Right.
If that makes sense.
As he used to say in the comedy clubs, I'll give you comedy, but no jokes.
Yep.
It's all real serious stuff. No, I give you all the
Exactly.
credit in the world. I actually saw that because you're the only, on my blog, you're the only blog that I subscribe to. So it's kind of like a link thing. I get all your stuff every day.
Thank you.
Just the Red Sox, man. AL East is changing. There's a shift. Let's be real. Shout out to Tampa Bay. They're doing very well. Boston, not so much. Kind of in the bottom of your division. Craig Breslow's in the hot seat, man. What do you think about the prospects this year?
Dude, so
he's like, dude, let me tell you.
There's how much time we got. There's wow. I could do hours on this. So
Yeah.
let me take it from the top real quick, just with the transparency issue that they're having. November 2nd, that's just going to be like a reiteration of my video real quick. November 2nd, Red Sox chairman Tom Werner came out and said, we're going full throttle this season. After two consecutive last place finishes, 22 and 23, Tom Werner goes, we're going to be full throttle this offseason, meaning they're going to have no financial restrictions. They're going to spend whatever they need to spend to bring in these free agents and make this team competitive again.
Right.
So then January 16th was the deadline for season ticket renewals for the Boston Red Sox. That's an important day because obviously it has to do with their bottom line, their revenue, and fan engagement. So 3 days after that deadline, at Winter Weekend this last weekend, the Red Sox like winter event where all the players go and congregate and they do a bunch of fan engagement stuff. Sam Kennedy, the Red Sox president, came out and said, you can basically expect our payroll to be lower than it was last year.
Oh,
which like that. And then that was the catalyst, man, for that video and all of the reaction to it. The lack of transparency is crazy. You can't, if they were fully transparent at the beginning of this offseason, they still would have the fans. They're losing fans right now. Fans are talking boycotting Fenway Park this year. Am I going to do that? No. But are some people going to? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
I personally love going to the ballpark. I don't look at going to the ballpark as lining John Henry's pockets, even though like it is, but I don't correlate it like that. I look at it as something I do to enjoy like my own time, something I love to do. But so in terms of the prospects, the can't miss prospects, I love all the top three, man. I like Marcelo Mayer, Roman Anthony, Cedane Rafaela. I love all those guys. I don't think they should be moved, to be honest with you. And I think it's good that the Red Sox are keeping them in their system, but you have to, if they have a trade opportunity for someone like Cabrera from the Marlins or something like that, they're going to want Mayer, and they should think about it at least, is all I'm saying. It shouldn't be an automatic no, because what they've come out and said is that they are looking to build around those three and like make that nucleus and build around them. So
from the outside looking in, I always feel like that organization's been snake bit. Like a lot of times they try to go over these big contracts, kind of blows up in their face. Chris Sale's out the door. I mean, you get Vaughn Grissom back, great, but it just feels like a lot of these half measures for a team that's in a huge market.
Right. They're essentially the moves that they did. So they brought in Tyler O'Neill. Great. Again, serviceable major league player, not going to take them from a fringe team to a playoff team. They brought in Lucas Giolito. Great. Another serviceable pitcher. He's going to give you at least 180 innings, probably a 4.5 ERA. Great. And then you bring in Vaughn Grissom. Awesome. Fills the hole at second base. But even combined, all three of those players aren't going to take this team from a fringe average playoff team to a playoff contender.
True, but is that an indictment of the Red Sox? Could be. Or is that because of the AL East is so strong, right? Because I feel like the Red Sox would kill in the AL Central, right? What is the team over there?
That's a great point. But I think you also have to look at your division when building your roster. And it doesn't seem to me or anyone like the Red Sox are actually doing that, because look at what all these other teams have done. Baltimore really didn't have to do much. They signed Craig Kimbrell. They really didn't have to do much. They're going to be dominant. Toronto, if they put it all together this year like they should, they're going to be another force. Same with the Yankees, same with Tampa, man. Like the Red Sox are the clear basement of the AL East right now. And yeah, there's about a month until spring training comes, 2 months until the season starts, but it's getting closer and closer, man. No free agent has signed yet, really. Like no big name free agent other than Ohtani and Yamamoto. So I'm curious to see just where these dominoes fall. Like, will the Red Sox get that pitcher everyone's talking about? Will they get Snell or Montgomery? Will they get Jorge Soler? My answer is no. I don't think they are. And truthfully, I don't think they should, because sometimes the best move you make in the offseason is the move you don't make. I don't really want to pay Jordan Montgomery as a number one starter. He wants to get more than Aaron Nola's deal. He's not going to get 7 years for $170 million. That's crazy. He's a good Jordan Montgomery, in my opinion, is a very, very good number two pitcher. He's postseason dominant for sure. He would help the Red Sox immensely. I still, again, don't think that he's going to be that ace, though, that everyone seems to have this opinion that he's like this number one pitcher. Why? Because he had a good postseason this year? That doesn't mean he's worth $170 million.
Right. Yeah, it is kind of interesting how the ace concept is more and more fluid as there's less innings being tossed out by these guys. But you're absolutely right. I do feel right. Yeah, you're not wrong there. So I look, it sounds to me you're in all the way. Even in bad seasons, you're a Sox fan for life. So what was the moment for you when you were like, oh, this breaks my heart, but I ain't leaving?
Jesus, there's many, men. So I really became like a full-fledged diehard fan my freshman year at high school. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis during that point. So I was home from school a lot, lost a lot of weight, wasn't able to do much. So, but one thing that was consistent in my life then was the Boston Red Sox every night at 7:05 p.m. So that's really when I fell in love with the team. I always loved baseball, always liked the Red Sox. That year in 2012, though, they won 69 games. It was absolutely an awful season. Bobby Valentine was the manager. I know you're a Mets guy. And it was just, I don't know, man. I got through that season and I was just like, I fucking love this team so much. And then luckily for me, I don't think it could have worked out better. The following season, they won the World Series, worst to first. So, yeah, if that 2012 season, man, really made me be like, oh, this is what it's like to be like a Red Sox. This is what it felt like for my parents when they were growing up with the Red Sox not winning. Like they were just such ass teams for so long. And then man. And then it's kind of been
down generation.
Yeah, the last decade they've won 2 World Series the last decade, but they've also finished in last place 4 times. So how do you measure that?
Yeah, as you can tell, that's why, we're a general manager, and I always tell this on the Black Baseball mixtape, plug, that I play out of the park baseball. We get to be a GM because you're not just picking up a team, you're picking up like families and livelihoods and stories. For me, Mets fan since day one, but there was a 2000 World Series where I felt someone in my family had passed away, and then I had to go to school the next day and defend it. Like, I thought we was going to win it all. Like, I had no idea. And I said, you know what, win, lose, or draw, I'm a Met fan for life. So I respect the heck out of that.
Who's your all-time Met?
So in like pubs and if I don't know you, I'll always say Piazza because it's a nice, safe choice. I do think David Wright's one of the best Mets of all time. I know.
Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I do. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer this year, maybe even next year. I do think on the amount of team records that he has for that franchise, especially in a period where the Mets were the basement of the entire league, like a punchline on Saturday Night Live, I do think he is. Sure. Adrian Beltre, please go ahead.
Argument?
Okay, hit me.
Okay, so David Wright has all the Mets records. Ryan Zimmerman has all the Nationals records. He's not in the Hall of Fame for that reason.
Ryan Zimmerman's a very good player, but I think there's something to be said about what I call the Silver Cup quotient. Zimmerman was a good guy on the team that was pretty stacked from talent. The Mets had absolutely nothing, and they were competitive until our annual collapse in August. And I think that should have some value. And I know people say, no, man, that's a different thing. The Hall of Fame is this kind of level of excellent. I'm not knocking that. But with like I was saying, pitching responsibilities are different, hitting responsibilities are different, batting average doesn't matter anymore. It's getting harder and harder to have a rubric of who needs to be a Hall of Famer. It was up to me. If I could control everything, maybe year 8, or even by committee, I'll put right in there. But there's no way he should be like beating Beltre. So 7% I'll take. Keep him on the ballot next year so you can think about it. You got me all worked.
Well, he's definitely not falling off. He's definitely not falling off.
Well, here's the thing. He's at 7% as of right now. Whereas we're recording this, they're going to announce the Hall of Fame inductees this afternoon. So 7%.
He's at 7% right now?
He's at 7%, and that's all the public ballots. So the private ones haven't been recorded yet. So I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
Taking a 7% jump.
Dude, I'm just, hey, I want to be still in the game, you know.
I'm a David Wright guy also. I don't want any I'm not a David Wright hater. I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Mets Hall of Famer for sure.
Don't do that. Don't do that to me, Liam. We're out of time.
I wrote an article today about Dwight Evans, how he should be in the Hall of Fame. There's people in the Hall of Fame who have numbers far worse than his. Harold Baines, Jim Rice. There's plenty of examples, but I'm sympathizing with you. I get it.
He's not a first ballot. I don't even think he's the first 3 or 4 ballots, but I think that there should be a spot for David Wright in the Hall. But that's a captain. You know, I get it as well. But no, to answer your question, as a kid growing up, my favorite Met is actually the obscure Benny Agbayani because I was a thick boy and Benny was thick like me. He was all ass. And I was like, I had the same shape. So I was my favorite one growing up was Benny Agbayani, but I said David Wright or Mike Piazza's favorite Met.
He was all ass, he says.
He said, look, it was me. It was only me.
I remember you showing me. I remember in Dubai, you showing me like a picture of you when you were like littler in high school or something. You're massive, man. How did you lose all of that?
You're not going to believe this, but the Subway diet.
No way.
When I was in grad school, I was in grad school. Well, California is very image conscious, so thankfully, and you could run outside in January, so that helped. But I didn't know anything about nutrition because I was living on my own. I was eating whatever was cheap, and cheap is usually pizza back then. Ramen was a thing, but it wasn't like how it is
also,
now.
that's just that's what every guy that lives alone eats.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every single guy listening to that knows exactly what you mean.
Right. You know, and I didn't know what balanced diet was, but you saw the commercials, and so I went to Subway, and back then a foot long was like $6. Now it's like $13, so you can't do that anymore. But yeah, I got a Subway club twice a day, 6 days a week, and on day 7, 8, whatever I wanted, and I lost 80 pounds that first year just on that alone, and that's why I go into the gym, and I still try to maintain it and all that stuff. So that's how it was.
So you. I was 375 for how long? You were 375?
Yeah, my heaviest I was 375 in my 3rd year in undergrad. And so twice a day. So I moved to California in August of 2007. I know I'm old. And I ate Subway.
You're wise, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm vintage. I ate Subway until that end of the school year because this is kind of peeling back the curtain. My income was basically the over loan from my student loans. So that's why I lived off of. So I got the money until the summer. So I would say, from August till about April, May, I lost 80 pounds that first year. I just eating
holy crap, man. Okay,
but
so
you have
to maintain 2 a day. Sorry, now I am locked in on this.
Okay, yeah. So 2 a day, Subway Club, no mayonnaise, of course. You know, save the mayonnaise out. Yeah, 2 a day. One at 11 a.m. and one at 6 p.m. And that was what I ate.
Would you go twice, or would you get both of them the first time you went?
It would depend. So typically I would go twice because like the one by my house was different from my school. But if I was going, because I was a film editor in grad school, I was in. So sometimes you have those hours in studio. I would just go and say, all right, let me get my 2 sandwiches. And there was no mayo, so we were fine with it. And I'll stack them up. But typically I would get 2 different trips.
Okay. Oh my God, man.
Yeah. So I lost.
I've never met someone actually that did that diet and it actually worked for them.
No, it does work, but the problem with, and you know this because you're also a workout guy, the plateaus will hit hard. So you'll hit a plateau, like, I guess I got to eat a meatball sub this week, you know, and then go back to that and stuff like that. So that was and after 175, I got the surgery to remove the skin. This is cool because I don't have to carry all the extra skin on me, but now I'm like weirdly shaped in places because I got
if you don't mind me asking, how long was the recovery from that? surgery?
Oh yeah. So what I had was called a flirty amnioplasty. So it's a tummy tuck. And
Okay. Yep.
so my job, they say if you have like a non-physical job, you can go back to work in about a week.
Oh,
I did
sweet.
mine
Okay.
about 10 days. So by day 10, I was comfortable enough to drive a vehicle or whatever.
Yeah.
The psychological recovery is about 3
Hmm.
months. And the reason being
Okay.
is that, well, one, I had a complication where I almost died, but that's a side issue. We can talk about that if you want to. But
Sorry to hear about that, man.
well, my
Mhm.
suture line had reopened and I started bleeding out on my couch and I couldn't
Yep.
stop it. And I thought I was gonna like because I didn't have like I'm getting into the weeds. I didn't have like stitches, like traditional stitches, like the thread and needle. I had
Yeah.
like the super glue where they put the skin
Hmm.
together and glue on the inside. So that had ripped
Yeah.
open and that was a whole big deal. But the psychological recovery is because for the first 3 months, and here's the gimmick, because it's your ab and your core, you're not supposed to lift anything over 20 pounds. So
Yep.
I was the kind of guy that at the end of the week, I would like take my laundry bag and just sling it over my shoulder and head all down to the laundry mat. I had to ask for help or I had to
Yeah.
ask for help to get my meals made. And I went to a movie, but I had to wear all these like baggy sweatpants because I couldn't have anything touching. And I felt like so helpless. And that took longer to recover from than the actual surgery line.
I hear you, man. I'm sorry that you went through that, but I appreciate you being open with me about that. That's wild. I mentioned earlier I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis when I was in high school.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I did actually get my colon removed, so I had a colostomy bag for a little while. So
Sure.
going back to like the abdomen thing that you were talking about, that's when it kind of rang in my head. The feeling of like helplessness and stuff post surgery and stuff, it was unbelievable, especially like you said, you can't really move when you have something done to your abdomen. You really
Right.
can't do much. You can't lift. You can like I needed to be helped upstairs, and the psychological toll that takes on someone, especially when you're younger, was
Exactly.
crazy and it's something I never would have imagined. Thankfully, like now I'm doing far better. Like I'm good to
Oh
go
yeah.
these days. But it was a process, man. It took me literally years to finally be into the place I am.
No,
So applause to
it's a
you
lot.
for making that quick, man. That's
No, thank you,
applause.
man. My first marathon, actually, you mentioned was the CCFA. I actually ran for the CCFA, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, because my mom has diverticulitis. So it was kind of like I was like a savant in learning about any kind of like conditions there, and it's rough, man. And no one quite understands. It's like, hey, are you
No.
okay today? You're like, what's your problem? You're like, no, my insides are fighting me. Like, what the?
And it's not something like most people, at least in my experience, I certainly was like, it's not something you're gonna like talk about to someone that you're not really that close with. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like a really like personal. I don't know. It's just something that, especially while I was going through it, I didn't really want anyone knowing about it,
Oh,
if that
absolutely,
makes
man.
sense.
But you're here
Yeah.
today, man, and you're young and virile, and you can like lift up Volvos and stuff.
Yeah, man, and that's like that was when we were taking the shuttle from the airport to Dubai to the hotel that first day. I just remember looking out the window and being like, "Wow, I like 4 years ago I never would have thought I'd be able to do something like this." So it was really like a surreal moment for me.
Was that when the
That
moment
bus ride.
everything hit you at the same time? You're like, oh man,
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, "Wow, man, the kid that, like, was sick in that bed for, like, that year and a half, like, he'd be so fucking proud of you." Sorry for swearing on here, but, like, he'd be so goddamn proud of you, man, for
yeah.
what you're doing. So, sorry, I got goosebumps now. But yeah, man, so that whole experience to me, honestly, like, I'll tell you this, I came back home, I got the Dubai skyline tattooed on my, leg right
Oh
after that.
dang, that's
Yeah.
dope, man. Wait, with the frame and like the little sail thing and
Yeah,
the
just the skyline, man. Yeah, with the
let's
birds and
go.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was an amazing trip for me, personally and professionally.
There's one reel I made where I just had like a picture of like the airplane flying in over a map. I watch it like almost every day because it came out
Mhm.
of nowhere. We went out there, we came, saw, conquered, part of history, and it was amazing, man. I'm gonna get something too. Why the hell not? I'm due. I only
Yeah.
have 4 pieces, but I'm due for something else, man. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, I know. I'm slacking. I'm behind. You know what
It's
the
okay, I
problem
got
is?
5. They're all little, though.
But the problem with me is like I can never settle on an artist. I'm like, oh man, this person's great. Oh, a 2-year wait. Well,
Yeah. Well, that's the problem too. If you want like a design or something, like I have like script on my arm and stuff, so it's not like it doesn't take that great of a tattoo artist to do that.
Yeah.
But if you want like a design, something that looks great, yeah, you're going to be on a wait list for a little bit. You're going to be spending some big bucks too.
Got to do it big, man. I got one life to live.
Yes. No, I hear you, man. I hear you. Would you ever get sleeves?
So I actually thought about it, getting sleeves like at least like one up to here, because I want to be able to control who sees it and who doesn't. Like I like my piece, because here's something that's interesting. I had a shoulder piece when I was heavier, but I lost the weight, so it's like down here past the t-shirt line. And I realized that some people notice and some people don't, and it doesn't matter to me. That's why I'm not ashamed of it. But sometimes I want to be able to show someone or take the guns out and not someone go, what's that? Because I have on my shoulder, it's a Statue of Liberty, but she holds a microphone instead of a torch, right? From New York.
Oh, sweet. I like that.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty cool. But like sometimes you don't want to like, become a guy in a fishbowl with one of those, what's that? What's that? What's that? So I will get a sleeve, but I'll make sure it's
I hate those people. Those people drive me nuts. And I also hate tattoo shamers. I don't know how we got here.
A job,
absolutely hate them, man. They drive me nuts. Like if someone elects to let me cook real quick. If someone elects to put something on their body, you shouldn't, like, everyone can have their own opinion. You shouldn't be like interrogating them for the reason why they chose to do that. I don't know. It's always been something that's irked me.
Dude, I'm with you. Like, I guess because I'm like a Star Trek fan. Like, if you go to a country and someone has a certain design or a certain skin color, it's like fine. Like, I don't give a
right.
They're gonna do with me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I always just think anytime I see anyone with any kind of like, even if they're crazy tattoos, I'm like, oh, I just want to know the story behind it. Like, why I'm a tattoo guy. Why did you get that? Maybe there was no reason behind it some of the times. And I think that's also why some people get like frustrated when they ask that question. It's like, all right, some people just get it because like looks cool, man. Like it's not that deep.
Exactly. I'm a collector. Let me know. It's way different than like you will never get a job. You'll never get in.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
oh my god, that dude. That's another. You'll never get a job if you have tattoos. Okay, heard that my entire life. When I got my first tattoo at 18, my mom was like, "You're never gonna get a job." I was like, "You think they're gonna be inspecting my left arm?"
Well, it depends. It was the Chippendales. I don't know what your job was. I'm just kidding.
No, I'd be a lot richer now.
Right. Forget running for a living. I'm shaking that ass.
Yeah.
So. We're off the rails. Yeah. So
all right, SoxStack is done. SoxStack is done. Yeah, I'm going to Vegas.
We're going to shift over to like just shaking that booty, that Betty Bagwayani booty. So on the show, we always ask people on the show a couple of questions, kind of like a speed round situation. Question number one: what is still on your travel bucket list?
Travel bucket list. I want to go to the Bahamas.
Okay, for Don't Blink or
for don't. I mean. Just to go, just to relax. Maybe a not baseball trip for once.
Yeah, for once. Yeah. A lot of times now I'm kind of like, I wonder there's a park nearby. It kind of changes your whole little vibe.
Every single time we go somewhere, man, I'm like, oh, cool. And I'll look up to see if I can get a credential at like the closest minor league ballpark.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope,
you can run it off.
Always grinding, man. Yeah, always hustling.
Besides Fenway, what's the best sports venue you ever visited?
Sports venue? I would have to say last year I went to Knoxville, the University of Tennessee's opening game, their football stadium. I think it was against App State, and they absolutely crushed them. The atmosphere in there was like nothing else I've ever experienced before. Whoa. And I hate football. I hate football.
You hate football?
Hate it.
I'm neutral on it, but you hate. Why do you hate it? Like
I just don't like it. I never got into it. I played a couple years when I was growing up, but never got into it. I can't sit there and just like watch. I don't think I don't know. It's just never been my thing. I'm baseball. I would say if I had to pick a 1 second, it would be basketball. And then I really could care less after that.
I get not caring less. I just figure like you hate like, oh, one time like these like football ninjas.
Oh no. I don't hate is a strong word. Hate's a strong word. I don't watch football. I'm very indifferent about it.
I'm super casual. Like because I used to play. And I walked on thinking I would be a running back. But again, I was in high school, I was 275. So I had to be nose. So to me it was super boring. And I was like, but yeah. Everyone I don't know much about football. Everyone collects something. What do you collect?
Ooh, I collect media credentials and I collect autographs.
Flexing media credentials. I collect VIP tickets too.
Yeah.
All right.
Credentials and autographs.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I have
Mhm.
enamel pins for my baseball trips. That's pretty much what I collect. That's
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that.
We talked about you hustling all the time, so I usually ask if you believe in days off, but Mr. No Days Off is on the show right now. And finally, what is your favorite junk food, sir?
Oh my God. Wow. Favorite junk food.
And I swear to
Baked
God, if you say
Cheetos.
salad, okay.
No, big Cheetos. Big Cheetos. Yeah, it's
What?
salad with crispy chicken.
Oh, stop. Oh, crispy. Oh, wow. Well, wait, hold on. So, where do you like pick out certain days? Is it kind of like a daily treat thing? Like, what's the Cheetos like?
Oh, so see, I have absolutely zero self-control when it comes to anything like that. So I can't even have it in the house unless the whole bag's going to be gone.
Fair,
So
fair.
as a standard practice, we don't keep snacks in this house often, except if it's like pretzels we'll always have on deck, and then multigrain chips we'll have on deck.
Those don't count. Like, I
No.
guess they are technically unhealthy, but if I go to a party and someone has multi-grain chips, I'm like,
Yeah, you're kind of like you're an asshole. I get it. Yeah. No. But like I said, man, if there was a bag of Cheetos right here, I'd delete the whole entire thing. I'm the same way with candy, same way with anything that's like bad for me, honestly. Just have that like need to kill the whole thing.
yeah, I'm the same way. I feel like I'm still a fat kid if you just give me the opportunity. Just like
What's
Kirby.
your favorite junk food?
I eat them all, but I got a sweet tooth though. So like now I get
Okay.
like the soft baked cookies. That's kind of like my jam. But I'm a cake donut guy. When I moved away from the East Coast, there was no Dunkin', and so when I got to LA, the first 10 years, I was on a donut shop tour to find a donut
Yep.
shop that would qualify. So I
Yep.
still do that. I'm not into chips as much, but if you give me like the honey twist pretzels, the Snyder's and Hanover's, it's a wrap. You know.
Ooh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the honey mustard ones. You ever have
Mhm.
those? Like the bits? Oh, so good. I have
Absolutely.
one question for you.
Hit me.
And the only reason this popped in my head because I was talking about it yesterday or earlier today with one of my
Okay.
buddies. What was your first car?
Oh, a 1999 silver Toyota Camry Solara SLE V6, the two-door.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Damn. That's
yeah, for a first car,
Yeah.
it's pretty legit. Yeah.
yeah. Damn. Okay. All right.
Chicks dig
Mine
that
was.
one.
How old were you when you had that car? Like where did that car fall in line of like newness when you got it?
My age or like the year? Well, same thing, right? So
Yeah, same thing, I guess.
It was 2004, so it was a 5-year-old car. But the reason why I
Okay.
got it is that my undergrad was in Florida, and being from New York, we didn't realize most of the country is all roads. So I got there my first year, and I was just stranded. They're like, "Okay, we're getting you a car." That's how it happened.
Gotcha. Okay. The reason I asked was just because my first car was a 1990 Buick Regal
Oh,
two-door
dang.
coupe. It was white and it had velvet, bright blue like your shirt, velvet interior.
I was about to say, yeah. That's what Buicks are known. Buicks and Oldsmobiles were known for that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I I was looking at pictures of that thing yesterday, and it was just bringing me back. Like I really was bumming around in this car for 2 years.
So many
Crazy. But
stains.
that car was free. So yes, so many,
So many stains.
so many
bad.
stains, so many bad memories, good memories. If that car could talk, man.
Man, that's what we're talking about. The first car is the best thing, man. I appreciate
Oh
that.
yeah. I said the other day, no matter how rich and successful I get, and if I get to the level where I expect to be, I cannot wait to have like a nice house, but then buy my son that exact car and make him drive around in it for a year.
Are you gonna follow around with him with like your Maserati, just like to laugh at him?
Yeah, exactly.
Bill's character, kid.
Well, actually, no, I'm gonna drop him off in the Maserati at school on Monday. Then on Tuesday, I'm gonna make him drive that car there for the rest of the week.
You should buy the car now and just have it in the garage ready to go. The layer
Just
dust
have
on
it. I know. Yeah,
You know?
might not be able to find one by the time I have a kid. 1990.
Yeah, I know, right? It's an antique classic car.
Yeah.
Liam, this has been a rare time, man. Just hanging, chopping up with you, man. But I think now's the time for the fun stuff. If I want to connect with you, if I want to follow SoxStack, if I want to, check out your podcast, how I go about doing that, baby?
Dude, you can go. I'll send people right to my Instagram. It's at Liam Skiffington. You can find me on all platforms at that same thing. SoxStack is always in my bio. If it's not directly SoxStack, my link tree is right in there, which has SoxStack on it. Go like, subscribe, daily newsletter, podcast coming, more video content coming soon, man. This was awesome, Flo. I appreciate you having me, man. And we definitely got to do it again.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I'm going to unsubscribe because you hate David Wright. But besides that, no, besides that, it was a lot of fun, man. Just chop it up. You're a real one. And the fact is, when you get to be my age, there's less and less real ones out there. So I appreciate the time. It means a lot to me.
I appreciate you, man. You're a real one as well.
Yes, sir. Let's do it again. This is New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creative thinkers and doers.